Good evening. There's a question that hangs over our country, one our leaders refuse to ask. Did Donald Trump actually make America great again? It's not a partisan talking point. It's the most basic measure of any presidency. Did life get better for ordinary Americans? The professional class already decided the answer is no, but their reality doesn't match what millions experienced. While they debate norms and tweets, you worry about your paycheck and your children's future. Tonight, we're cutting through the noise. We'll look at the facts, not the rhetoric. MAGA. 4 letters that sparked a movement, divided a nation, and changed politics forever. Was it just a slogan, or did Trump actually make America great again? Let's find out. Before the pandemic, something remarkable was happening in America, a real economic boom. This wasn't just Wall Street numbers, it was jobs, wages, and hope for the forgotten men and women. Manufacturing jobs, once declared dead, started to return. Unemployment hit record lows for African Americans, Hispanics, and Asian Americans. These are government statistics, not campaign slogans. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, mocked as a giveaway to the rich, actually fueled small business growth and doubled the child tax credit for working families. The stock market soared, boosting retirement accounts for millions, but the most important change was a sense of optimism. Finally, it felt like the country was working for those who do the work. The managed decline of the middle class paused. Someone in Washington was on their side. Rising wages and plentiful jobs meant less dependence on government, and that scared the people in charge. The experts hated it because it challenged their worldview, that you need them to manage your life. But for a brief moment, Americans saw what was possible when government got out of the way. The facts were undeniable, even if the media tried to spin them. The Trump economy wasn't just a blip, it was a turning point for millions. For the first time in decades, the American dream felt alive again. The establishment couldn't stand it. But for working families, it was real. The question is, why did so many in power want to pretend it wasn't happening? Maybe because a thriving, independent middle class is the one thing they can't control. And that's the real threat. For years, you were told America was running out of energy and had to rely on foreign oil. You were told to feel guilty for wanting prosperity. But what if that story was wrong? The Trump administration unleashed American energy by cutting regulations and opening federal lands. Pipelines like Keystone XL and Dakota Access were approved. The result, U.S. oil and natural gas production skyrocketed. In 2019, America became a net energy exporter for the first time in nearly 70 years. That meant lower gas prices, cheaper heating, and more jobs. It was a direct economic boost for every family, a tax cut without a vote. Energy independence also meant national security, no more begging OPEC or funding hostile regimes. American energy dominance weakened adversaries like Russia and strengthened our allies. Critics screamed about the environment, but U.S. production is cleaner than Russia or Venezuela. Producing energy here is better for the planet and for American workers. The real opposition wasn't about climate, it was about power. American strength was never their goal. Managed decline was. But for a moment, America led the world in energy, and it changed everything. The question is, why would anyone want to reverse that? Maybe because a strong, independent America is harder to control. The most basic job of government is to control who enters the country. For years, both parties kept the border open, pleasing donors and activists, but ignoring Americans. Trump saw things differently. A nation has the right to decide who joins it. He promised a wall. And while critics mocked, hundreds of miles were built. But it wasn't just about the wall. Policies like Remain in Mexico ended catch and release and cut illegal crossings. Asylum seekers waited in Mexico, not the U.S., reducing incentives for dangerous journeys. Illegal crossings plummeted, law and order returned to the border. This wasn't anti-immigrant, it was pro-law, pro-sovereignty. For border communities and millions who believe in the rule of law, it was a sign someone was finally listening. The opposition wasn't about compassion, it was about power and changing the electorate. Open borders mean more government dependence and new voters for those in charge. Trump's border policies threatened that project, so they were reversed immediately. The result? Chaos at the border. The lesson: enforce the law and people follow it. Ignore it, and you get crisis. The border debate isn't about walls, it's about who controls the future of the country. And for a brief time, Americans saw what real border security looked like. That's why it was so fiercely opposed. For decades, Washington's consensus was to embrace China, hoping it would become a democracy. Instead, we lost millions of jobs, our industries hollowed out, and China grew stronger. Trump called it what it was, a catastrophic failure. He saw China as our top adversary, not a partner. Tariffs were his tool, not to punish Americans but to fight China's predatory trade. The experts screamed, but the old trade wasn't free. It was a one-way street. Trump's tariffs pushed companies to bring jobs home and rebalance trade. He tore up bad deals like NAFTA, replacing them with USMCA to protect American workers. The globalist elite hated it. Trump exposed their project as a fraud that enriched them and impoverished you. America First wasn't isolationism, it was realism. The nation-state, not global corporations, should come first. Trump's trade policy was a fundamental realignment. It put American workers and sovereignty ahead of multinational profits. The establishment fought back, but the shift was undeniable. For the first time in decades, America stood up to China, and the world noticed. Washington's answer to every problem: more war. For decades, endless conflicts drained lives and treasure with little to show. Trump broke the cycle. He asked, "Why are we fighting wars that don't serve American interests?" He demanded NATO allies pay their share, and they did. He started no new wars, the first president in decades to do so. Troop levels in Iraq and Afghanistan dropped, the forever wars began to end. When American lives were threatened, he acted decisively, like the strike on Soleimani. Trump's foreign policy was realism used force only to protect American interests, not to remake the world. A strong military deterred enemies but was used as a last resort. The media predicted disaster, but peace prevailed. Alliances were strengthened by accountability, not charity. The establishment hated the bluntness, but it worked. America led with strength and restraint, and for once the world had to adjust to us, not the other way around. Trump's most lasting legacy isn't a policy, it's the movement he awakened. Millions who felt ignored and mocked by elites found their voice. The media, academia, and both parties thought these Americans were finished. They were wrong. The MAGA movement is a populist revolt against a corrupt, incompetent ruling class. It's about secure borders, fair trade, national pride, and basic competence. Trump spoke to these voters, not down to them. He was a fighter, and so were they. The establishment calls them a threat to democracy, but what they really fear is losing power. Every attack only made the movement stronger. The Republican Party and American politics are forever changed. The MAGA movement isn't going away. It's a force that will shape the country for decades. The more they're attacked, the more they believe the system is rigged. Trump gave them a voice, and they're not giving it up. The elites are terrified, but the movement is just getting started. This is the new reality in American politics. So, did Trump actually make America great again? We've looked at the facts, the economy, energy, borders, trade and foreign policy. The record is clear. By almost every measure, America was stronger before the pandemic. This isn't opinion, it's reality millions lived. The establishment can try to rewrite history, but the numbers and the movement remain. The questions raised about who America is for and who holds power aren't going away. They're the central questions of our time. The answers will shape our future. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more bold stories on American Physio.